everybody? It's your boy, it's Joe. How are we doing today? Hope everybody's having a good day, good weekend, and having a good night. Happy Saturday. Um, so what we're gonna be um pretty much doing tonight? We're gonna be labbing up Ansible. If you're unfamiliar with what Ansible is, Ansible is it's a network automation tool developed by a company called Red Hat. Red Hat is they're I guess for me to explain it, they're like they were they oh, what's up? Hoss 00321. Oh, good looking out on the follows, Hoss. So, oh, I've got a lot of Hoss digestion tonight. Love it. You're killing me, Hoss. Oh, here comes another. Oh, there's a whole bunch of them coming in right now. I love it. Go look it out, Hoss. You the best. I don't even know what else to say. Oh, there's a couple more coming in. Hold on, let me take a look at the list here. See how far we've gotten. Good looking out, Hoss Chili, Hoss Tame, Hoss Q, Hoss Saw, Hoss Smooth, Hoss Trouble, Hoss Reach. Let me see, is that a Hossy Wreck I see in there? I do see a Hossy Wreck. Made my day, right there. You made my day. All right. Let me turn that down. All right. So, let me get back to the stream here. Good looking out. No, that was funny. You got me started. So what Ansible what Ansible is a network automation tool framework. Similar, if you're familiar with Ansible, you're not gonna know what I'm talking about. So you're gonna be familiar with Salt, Chef, and a couple of the other tools as well. It's developed and maintained by a company called Red Hat Enterprise Linux. They pretty much have taken what is a open source platform and have created, a really secure, awesome, it runs, it runs most of the backbone of the internet. And most servers out there run Red Hat Enterprise Linux because of the security and everything else. But a lot of this stuff, including Ansible, a lot of this stuff has an open source community version that is still maintained by the community. Some parts are maintained still, confined that are maintained by Red Hat. We're going to be using Ansible today. Ansible is one of those open source type products that, it's a neat automation tool. What's cool about it is it just needs, I guess the word I'm looking for is it doesn't need to be installed on the device that I want to automate. The only thing that needs to be installed is on the device that per se I want it to be like the controller. So say you had Uh, for me, to kind of like the best way for me to kind of explain it sometimes, just say like you're a school administrator, and you had 100 computers that you maintain. All right, and you maintain them. You wanted to maintain them from one computer. Uh, Instead of going to each and every computer and doing, punching in a particular, commands to install programs, to update things, do whatever you need to do to maintain these computers. You want it to do it from your computer. Now, you can do that in a way. You can call, you can SSH into those computers, or Telnet into those computers, or VNC into those computers. And you can do all those activities too. You know what I'm saying? You can update those computers. You can install programs and do what you need to do. Well, take that to the next level and say, because that still has you going, instead of going physically into the computers, that still has you going into every single one of those computers and performing that same task the same way. Nonetheless, you're not walking to the device. You're now SSHing or telnetting or whatever. You're connecting to the device from your computer. Well, that's great. Well, you're still doing all that work. Well, let's say you had 100 of those devices were all the same, very same models, running the same operating system, say Windows, and the command to update it was pretty much the same. Well, in Ansible, it allows you, it gives you a way to run that command on multiple devices simultaneously. All right, and that's the power to it, and that's where that network automation comes in, because then you start thinking about things programmed, you can start thinking about how you do your networking as how you would create a program. All right. So instead of thinking about networking as, just running over to the command line or accessing it through the web interface or whatever have you, instead you're thinking about your network as more like a developer thinks about how they would create a program. All right. And you would, you start thinking about, how, just put yourself in that mindset and how you could automate things through programmability. You can do that with Ansible. That's what it unlocks. And that's the tip of the iceberg that we're going to be touching on today. Now, I'm no expert. I never am. I'm just a little puppy dog in all this stuff. I'm learning. This is just what I dabble. Brand new flavor from Polar Seltzer, by the way. I don't know if you guys. This is no promo or anything. I don't get paid by anybody to do these streams or anything. But Haas, good looking out, Haas. I love you. But yeah, the new Polar Seltzer just came. I love seltzer water. Ginger lime mule. Ginger lime mule. It gives a little description. It says people voted for a favorite, and we made it happen. New flavor. Hint of ginger. It's very refreshing. All right, enough of that business. All right, so we get on Facebook just to make sure. I always forget to do it. Bad host. Bad host. Who's ever watching it? Just to make sure. All right. Yeah. So we're just going to be touching on the tip of the iceberg with Ansible. I'm going to be using GNS3. It's an easy way for me to demo this for you guys. I have all the documentation, everything prepared, and I'm going to be sharing that with you guys too as well. It's going to be documentation straight from the Ansible docs themselves. I'm not going to be pulling out docs out of some random, Googled website. I'm going straight to the Ansible docs. which is always the best way to kind of do things when you're learning things. It's just go to, whatever platform you're learning. Best, 9 times out of 10, the best way to do things is going straight to the sources documentation. That's what we're going to be doing today to reference a lot of what we're going to be doing. From there, I guess what I like to add from there is you're going to be doing this on Cisco iOS devices. I'm going to be using it's a Linux container that GNS3 has in their little library of applications there. It's the network automation device. If you're familiar with GNS3, I'm pretty sure you'll be familiar with the network automation container that's available in their little application store. It's a neat, all their little applications are super neat. I really like their little Docker apps. I think their Docker apps are the best ones. Just because they're easy to, they work. How's that? I love containers. That's not today's stream. But yeah, it's a Linux container, and it has Ansible. I think it's going to be Ansible 2. It's going to be backed a couple versions too. Whatever. I'm not too concerned about it because a lot of what we're going to be doing today on the devices we're going to be using today, I think Ansible's at like 2.9.13 right now. We'll take a look too in the documentation, just so I can be clear on that. But like I said, I think it's on 2.9. It's backed a couple versions, but again, it's not really gonna hurt us on what we're gonna be doing in the code. As you're gonna see, we're gonna be using the documentation, which documentation's up to current. The code they're gonna be using today still works. It should still work. I'm gonna say should still work on the current version of Ansible. And again, so just follow. If you have any questions, if you want to do an install of Ansible, is super simple. If you're familiar with virtualization environments and how to set up quick virtualization environments, if you have, say, VirtualBox, the free one, VirtualBox, or Oracle VirtualBox, or VMware, or whatever have you. Again, if you're familiar with virtualization, you'll be familiar with whatever platform you prefer. To do something similar to what we're going to be doing today. Spin up, 3 VMs. I've done this before. Spin up 3 VMs. 2 as 2 little hosts, 1 as the controller. You only need to download and install Ansible to one of those nodes or PCs or VMs, whatever you want to call them, and then you're going to manage the other 2, and that's what this demo is doing, is managing that. I'm going to be doing stuff with IP addresses and stuff like that. I think it's a little bit more interesting when you do it on networking devices and stuff like that, because it kind of gives you like the demonstration of how you would interact, with cloud type devices like these. You know what I'm saying? Because all these devices, there's, and maybe the commands aren't going to be the same. That's not going to be at all. But the logic and what we're going to be doing is going to be, it's very, very similar from what the devices and then what I'm going to be calling these devices to do and what you can find in a cloud type device. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm going to be doing. All right. How is everybody doing? Where's my music? No more music on the streams, by the way. Get in trouble too much. Every time, even though it's free music, it's like I can't win. So it's pretty much downloading the container. So if you're familiar with Docker and how containers are, it's pretty much uh, downloading the container it needs right from Docker. That's what's important there. So it's different than these devices right here. These devices right here, uh, these are actual VMs. Right? These are actual virtual machines, and they're running, a Cisco, uh, uh, a Cisco iOS. That's it. All right. So, what I'm pretty much going to do, what you're going to see, just trying to because I want to have this pretty nice because I want to do like an OSPF. Yeah, I can do that, and then I just add this beautiful, my genius, man. Pure genius. So smart. All right, stop. Some videos. Explain. So what the topology is going to be real quick is what we'll have, and I'll mark it up to real quick. It's so finicky. Right, so this one will be this. So, yeah, beautiful. That something. I couldn't do that any faster. Ah. All right, so we've got a couple of different areas here. All right. Uh, yeah, like that. Oh, no, no, no. All right, so what we got real quick is we just have a couple of areas. What we're gonna do, uh, pretty much this will be area 0, so we'll have to put the labels real quick. Just throw down some labels. Some labels. Where's my label? Make it there. I guess. Nope. Go. I guess that's just a hard way. I shouldn't be doing this. What you gonna make? Whatever. All right, everybody get the idea? So this is pretty much going to be area 0, backbone area. We'll have these three routers over here touching this area. Then we'll have area 1, which will just be the interface between the router and the controller. And then area 2 would be between router 1 and then router 2. And then area 3 would be between R2 and R3. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty simple, right? We'll get these guys started up. It's already fired up. What do I got for this? All right, so what we needed, the only couple things I guess we just got to do is we just got to enable, SSH on these three routers, and then just make sure we can log in. We just got to enable SSH, and then pretty much create a static route. We'll create a static route to everything. That way, the controller can then configure. We'll have the controller configure OSPF and a couple other things with these routers, and we'll work through that automation process. And that's what we'll go over. That's what this is going to be about, is how we automate this process through programmability and stuff like that. So this should be pretty. I'm looking forward to this. So yeah, so that's what we're gonna do is we'll have to just SSH and static routes, and then we'll create OSPF and everything else with the controller. Because if we don't have static routes and if we don't have SSH, then we can't communicate with the devices that we want to that we want to configure it with Ansible. Okay. What I'll do is I'm gonna give everybody a sample. So I put that up in on the. Gotta go over. Fix it. Put that up in there on the Facebook. I got that up in everybody's chat. I got every. All right. So we're good. So what I shared pretty much right there. What I shared is a I shared a sample of where this lab is going to be. Obviously, this lab is going to be different, but that's a sample lab that I created actually just a couple of days ago when I was, just getting used to work with Ansible again. Ansible, like all things, is one of those things that if you're not working with on a daily, you can kind of get rusty. So let's get this one started. So a couple of days ago, I was like, you know what, I want to start getting, working with Ansible again, and like I did last time, I fell in love with it, and I really enjoy. I don't know, something about I enjoy using Ansible. So over here, this is gonna be it's gonna be R1 over here. All right, and if you're unfamiliar with so we're gonna be using a couple different command lines. We're gonna be using obviously Linux command line. We're gonna be using Cisco iOS command line. So if you aren't familiar with any of the command line, that just ask questions, guys. And I got again, I got the documentation. I even got the Cisco documentation too, ready to go. I always got everything ready to go, guys. Let's do this. Okay. So, what's going to be the first one we want to do? It's going to be gig 2. So let's do gig 2 real quick. Gonna keep IP addressing and everything else super simple, guys. Super, super simple. This isn't about making things complicated tonight, okay? Then, any questions, guys? Just ask. Okay. Link 2. Yeah, let's say network manager. And then for this. I totally misspelled that. Um, 2 1 6 8 1 0 2. I'm just creating a quick DHCP server for a couple things real quick. So this is just a DHCP server for the network automation. What? Let me get over here too, because I might have to reset them too. These are on. What was it? Okay. So on most Linux distros, to get to like the to get to your interface configuration file from the command line. Okay, so if you aren't familiar with the command line, it can get confusing, but to get to the to get to most distros interface command line, where the network file is, so you can either statically give yourself an address or look for a DHCP, to send DHCP messages. That's sitting in your Etsy network files under interface for the most part. We'll do that right now. So Etsy, we'll say network, and we'll say. All right, so right there, so Nano, well, not Nano, but Etsy network interface will get you there for the most part on most common distros. All right, and what we're gonna do is this is a sample. So right here's a sample configuration file right here. It pretty much just tells you, it gives you some options, and it's very convenient. Uncomment what you pretty much want. So if you want to statically configure your Ethernet, so Ethernet 0, ETH 0 is on this device. This is its interface. On other devices, it can be another abbreviation, but it's only your interface. So don't get confused by that. This is pretty much saying on that interface, I want to statically be addressed 192.168.0.2 and the /24 network. The gateway is 192.168.0.1. This is the name server, right? But that's not what we want. Okay, we want DHCP to tell us all of our network information. Okay, because I'm configuring DHCP on the router, right? All right, so what we want on comment is this configuration right here. Okay, so it's pretty much saying on the interface, Ethernet 0, pretty much init, all right, DHCP. So it's just going to start sending out those DORA messages, okay? Discovery, offer, request, accept, okay? Give that a control O, give it an enter, give it an X. That's how you get out of Nano. You know, you can use Vim, you can use VI, you can use Nano, you can use whatever you want. You know, Nano's easy. Vim, I like Vim. Vim is complicated though. This has VI though. VI is a little bit, you know, Vim is VI, VI is Vim. But VI is a little bit older, more ruggeder. Like copy and paste. You know, Vim comes with copy and, you know, it accepts a little bit more newer type stuff. So, whatever. All right, let's get back over here now. What we were doing before I started doing that. Then one, 0, 2, 168, 2. And then I'm putting out, I'm just saying that I don't want the addresses between here and 99. Pretty much just stop me off right now. Doing everybody good. Facebook book. All right, we're looking good, guys. Quick one, gasolina. Super. All right, let's go back over here now. Let's just shut this guy down real quick. Just gonna shut it down, and then we'll boot it back up. You know, it sometimes you can get it. Sometimes there's a command that will bring up the interface and bring it down. Sometimes some distros have that built into it. Obviously, this isn't connected to the internet, so you know I'm not going to be updating anything on these devices. So that's pretty much. Now we need to, before I get caught, before we get too crazy, just needed to set up the other infix. So let's just do that while that boots up real quick. That 2.168. We'll say 2.1. I'm trying to keep everything super simple. Link to 2 area. Now that, what did I say that was? That's area 2, right? Yeah, that's area 2. Then we have one more interface. And that's to area 0, right? And that's all. Now we got an IP address, very good. Now we should be able to ping 192. If I can type to 192.168. So obviously we could ping our gateway router or 192.168, whatever you want to call it. Let's actually set up SSH2 router. So, so say modulus 1024. I'm going to create a user now. If you are using GNS3 and you've ever had issues with using SSH, you have to because GNS3 with iOS sometimes it goes straight to enable mode. Some versions have user mode, some versions have enable mode right away. So if you just increase the privileges, what I've seen, or escalate the privileges on the user, it works fine. That's pretty much what we're going to be doing. So we're going to call this user. We're just going to say Mr. Joe here. Mr. Joe, I like Joe. Or we're going to say admin. There we go. We'll say admin. Username admin. We're going to give him total escalation of privileges here, so he can go right. He can just give any commands. He can pretty much. It's pretty much saying he can go right into enable mode. We're giving him escalated privileges, right? And then we're going to give him the secret. Give him the password of. We're going to keep it super simple. Keep it Cisco, okay? Super basic, guys. All right. So, interface, live, interface time. Team. So login. Transport, import all. I'm going to say all. Okay. Just for this demonstration, guys, I'm doing all this, okay? I'm going to say login, local, login local, pretty much gives it the command to use the username password. So there we go. So we enable SSH. So now we can SSH. So we can successfully SSH over to R1. So that's part one of the puzzle. Real quick. That went pretty smoothly. All right. And obviously now we can pretty much configure the device from here, just like I said. So we're going to enable SSH on all these devices, and literally, we can step into each one of these devices and again, like manually configure these devices individually. But what we're going to be doing today is taking that abstraction and thinking about these devices as a whole, and then thinking about the configuration from there on what we want our design to look like. So that's what that's the thinking of network automation. So I'm just gonna exit out of this for now. I don't need to be SSH'd into this for now because I'm still gonna be using the console to log in and out of it and stuff like that because we're gonna be doing some stuff here with this device with going into now we're not going to modify. We're actually not going to modify. We don't need it. We don't need to modify any of the uh, default Ansible configurations like that. We shouldn't have to. That's okay. So, yeah. Any questions? Okay. What was that just? So. One more. Do I have one more interface, or is that all the interfaces? I do have one more interface, right? Yeah, 0. That's 0. Interface. This will just be linked to area 0. Real simple. So all the other routers will have that there. Okay. Very good. All right. So we got that. He's all set. I think, yeah, R1 should be ready. Let's just do a show configuration. Just make sure we get the NTE network. Oh yeah. All right, we're good. The DHCP is fine, just on that one, because I'm just gonna static everything from now on. Yep, got our admin. Got our admin in there. Just want to make sure everything looks good. All right, so we're looking good, guys. Okay, everything's good enough. There's two's off. One. Zero the next one. I put that 2, right? So it's 2.2. So obviously the description doesn't mean anything. It's just helping me keep track of it. That's all it is. Okay. 0.2. Good. And 2.1. But we also need to have we need a static IP address though. What is 12 too? So we need a P route. So 192.168, 2.1. That's out of the 2.1 is off the so static. Yep. Okay. So if I do do ping 168.1.100, I can ping that. I can ping obviously that host. Now I have to. Well, so let's just see if that host can ping. Ping to. So we can ping that router. At least that router's interface that's facing between R1 and R2 right now. But when we configure the other interface, obviously it won't have a route towards that until we configure OSPF. I just want a route though. I just needed one static route to make sure that we can get traffic because we need to SSH into that router. Right? So. Let's enable SSH real quick. That way we can get this process, obviously, started. I need to give it a hosting real quick. I'm going to say r2.lab. Alright, create a user. You know what? We're going to create the same user on everyone just to keep everything simple, guys. Again, we're the admin. Same user, same password on all of them. Okay, guys? Okay. Let's go back over here. See if we can we should be able to now SSH successfully over to R2 now, 2.2. Okay, so now we can, so we have proof we've successfully logged into SSH over to R2. Okay, so good there. That process is complete. We're rocking on this. So I got those two. Need this bad matter to. Two, 3, 1. Shut. What did I say? Is that area 3, guys? That is area 3. And that should be good. That's it. Because we're not configuring DHCP or OSPF or anything else. Now where's R3? 7, 4. Okay, let's get you connected to 168.3.2. Come on. Come on. That's it. So area 3. Area 3. But then we need a couple things on this router though. Let's just do this real quick. Let's just configure its gig 0.0 address 0.68.0.3. So again, so this one right here, guys, this is gonna be area 0, okay guys? And the only reason why I am doing this is the reason why it produces a different effect with an OSPF configuration that I want to do. Now, need a couple of static routes. So now I should be able to ping host hold on. Oh, I know why. Because R1 doesn't have an route back to me. So I need a 3.0 to 5.0, and that's 2.2. Now, now, now we should be able to ping 2, ping 2, 168.3.2. Now we can ping that. So there we just needed a route back and forth. Very, very easy. You show IP route. There we go. That was it. That's all we needed. We just needed a route back and forth to how everything was speaking to one another. Then if we go over here, then we can ping that. Perfect. I just want to just. Okay. So let's go ahead and configure SSH. Create that same user again. Let's go back over here now. Now we should be able to SSH. So there we go. So now we can SSH into all 3 of our routers. Okay. And here again, so here is our topology here. So over here from our network automation device here, what we've pretty much done for this example is yes, these are routers, but we're acting as, we are the network manager for these devices here. And these devices are, quote unquote, they're in different areas. You know what I'm saying? These can be spread throughout the country, or our local area here. So either way, though, we are pretty much, connected to this. Where this router is in our office here. That's what this is signifying here. I think I can stick up. So again, so just for this would be the area, guys. So this is like the office. You know what I'm saying, that the manager's sitting in here. The manager's sitting at this desk. It's connected here. And then obviously we're connected up. And just for demonstration purposes, the reason why I did this over here was to say this is the area, the backbone area. This area over here could be the home office. You know what I'm saying? This could be where this is the corporate headquarters. Whatever the case is. Again, this is just a topology that I just wanted to just go over. So everything's up and good. Oh. I love that. It's good stuff. It's a great tool. So I think I saved that configuration before you. Save this configuration. All of our configurations are saved just in case anything happens. All right, now let's get started with Ansible. That's kind of what this is about. So now that we've pretty much got our, we've made simple connections with the devices that we needed that we need to manage. That's kind of the process. That's kind of really it for what you need to do with SSH just to establish initial connectivity. You just have to ensure, if you're going to be using SSH as the protocol, there is a way to enable telnet on Ansible, but I'm not going to, that's not what I'm going to get into here. Not even worth the discussion, honestly. And other means to do this, at least for my example here, what I'm going to be doing. This example involves using SSH as the protocol, which is the default protocol for Ansible. Okay, and that's what gives Ansible the power to work on so many devices. You can pretty much SSH into any device as long as you have an SSH, client server on that device. You should be able to SSH over to it for the most part. All right, so from here, let's pull up some documentation real quick on pretty much where we're going to begin to start. What would be the best? So when we get started with Ansible, we need to get started with an inventory. All right, now I believe if we go to Etsy Ansible, we can take a look at some of like some examples that its host file will have. So let's do we can just do a quick nano on host real quick. All right. So this just gives us a nice quick example of what a host file could look like. Now this is written in I'm going to call it an in format, INI, in format. Okay, this isn't written in YAML so a host file can be written either in an in file or it can be written in YAML. Okay, I honestly I prefer it in an in file. I believe it's more readable. YAML, YAML is readable, but I tell you, it is a sucker. It is something else when it comes to being very strict about spaces. Holy block, holy. We might actually we might run into that once or twice tonight. Obviously, with the tools that I have available for me on this image here aren't advanced IDEs or anything like that. I'm going to be using Nano to create the files that we're going to be creating. So again, sometimes I can't tell. We're going to be able to tell. I've gotten better at being able to tell, but it can get confusing to tell your spaces because you can't use tabs or anything else. You have to use spaces. It's pretty much two spaces, two spaces, two spaces. If you can remember two spaces, two spaces, two spaces, that's pretty much the trick for game. So again, once you download and install your version of Ansible, for the most part, sitting in the Etsy Ansible directory, there should be a host file similar to this that gives a really good example of what we're looking at here. So I'll just key on some things real quick. So This is exactly what it says, an ungrouped order of hosts here. So this is an ungrouped order. So this is, if we had DNS name resolution in our network, I'm saying we can give, fully qualified names. I don't have DNS. I could set up DNS. That's not too hard, but it's just, it'll take me a couple minutes to set up DNS. There is a nice little Docker container, but again, I don't want to get too involved in that. That'll take away from what I'm doing. So, but again, so this is just a host IP address. So again, this is an ungrouped hosting. We can just label out host here. So we just uncomment these out. The Ansible will read these as what we need for host. Okay, we come down here. Okay, and if we scroll down, I can scroll for a second. We come over here. We have a order of a collection. Okay, so as this implies, and this implies, we have a collection here. Okay, so when you give something in the square brackets, it's given this collection called web server. Okay, under the web server collection, it's got 4 alpha, beta, and then it's got, obviously two regular IP addresses. Okay, so this is a qualified collection. Okay, this is good. This will work. All right. Now we come next. It's just different ways to do collections and stuff like that. But that's pretty much how you would set up a simple init host file. Now, we're going to be adding some stuff. Now, you can add variables, which is an awesome feature. You can add variables directly to the host file, all right, per host or per group. We're going to be utilizing some of that in our demonstration today. So, if these were, if the devices that we were connected to were maybe PCs or Linux devices, there would be a way for us to store SSH keys and stuff like that, just to do. But on Linux devices, you're logging into for say like a console and not like a command line like you would on a PC. So the connections are a little bit different. So we're gonna have to call out our connections. And again, we're going to take a look at the documentation when it comes to that. As we walk through the Ansible file, the Ansible setup file that I'm going to be doing, we'll continue. So that's any questions on that? Okay. All right, so that's just the all right. Good looking out on the light, David. So yeah. All right, let me share some. So right here, what I'm going to share real quick is I'm sharing some of the where am I thinking? Oh shit. Why doesn't that mean? Okay. All right, so here. And let me send this. Oh. No. So what I've shared right there, guys, is this is the Ansible documentation inventory file. So if you pull this up, I think it may. No. Stop this. Stop this madness, man. This is madness. It's all madness. Well, let me put another messenger down. Oh, not what I wanted. Huh. That's so bulky. Why are you broken, live chat, Facebook? How dare you break? Over it. I got to be over it. Okay. Move on. All right, either way. Again, I'm going to share all this stuff anyways, guys. So, let's just go back home. I'm going to create just a new projects folder here, guys. Okay, now in here, I'm going to make my own host file. Okay. So underneath here, what I'm going to do is we can give out our host. So this would be our host. For devices. Okay. And I'm going to say 192.168.1, 192.168.2.2, and 192.168.3. And we're going to say maybe all devices, routers. Yeah, we'll say routers maybe. All right, so this is, I'll comment this out too. Just a group of devices. Okay, guys, super simple. So these are our devices. So we have our first devices up here. All right, so this is just saying pretty much R1, R2, R3. All right, and then just our devices right here. We can even do this, guys, if you really wanted to. Two. So we have router 1, 2, 3, R1, R2, R3, and then we have all of our routers pretty much right. Okay. Yeah, it's fine. You guys understand we're pretty much right with that. Okay. Now, what I kind of need to do, though, for we need to add some. We need to add, and I'll share what we need to do here. So pretty much, we need to tell Ansible that this isn't a command line type of device. We have to tell Ansible that this is you're connecting to a console other debugs. And it has to connect. The connection to it's a little bit different on how it does it. So we're going to be giving it the Ansible connection local, and I'll show you the documentation for that too. So what I shared with you guys was this link right here. And again, so if you're curious how to set up a basic configuration file, this would start. Okay. Now, if we come right here with the connection variables, all right. So this is just a quick workaround with using connection variables inside of our host file. All right. All right. So if we give these connection variables, and there's a whole list of these too. If you scroll down to the documentation, you can find the whole entire list. And hey, I can get that pretty easy. All right, so here's the list of variables, the connection variables that you can pretty much plug and play. And we're going to be using a couple of these. So we're going to be using Ansible user and Ansible password. All right. Now you wouldn't be using these probably in per se like a secure environment. This is just going to be a quick way because so there's Ansible Vault, which I'm not going to get into today. Ansible Vault's another. It would be a whole nother stream all on its own. All right. What I'm going to be using today is just a real simple way to get this done real quick. And we're going to be using these quick connection variables with Ansible user and Ansible password. All right. Obviously, we're also going to be using the Ansible connection. Okay. So pretty much what it just says in the documentation. All right. Connection type to host. This can be the name of the Ansible connection plugin, such as SSH protocols, such as Smart SSH, couple of the default is Smart. Non-base SSH types are described in the next section. So if we go to the next section, it'll get into it, what it means by us using the local parameter. All right, pretty much it's just because it's connecting to a networking device, and with networking devices, you're connecting to the console of these devices. So that's why it's a little bit different for those particular devices. So, all right, let me throw this documentation away here. So that's what we're looking at. So we're going to be go back, get out. So let's get back over here. Now we're going to be adding the parameters here to our configurations. So we're just going to be giving it the Ansible spell. So what I pretty much am doing is giving to just build this configuration file, the host file that we're going to be using. I'm just giving the parameters, the variables. Now that should set that. Is just let's do an ad hoc. An ad hoc command is just pretty much doing like a command line command to call a Ansible module on something. So what we're going to do is we're going to use an Ansible ad hoc command to call the module ping on, we're going to say R1 here. Now, I want to just see if when I plug in a variable on host, will it drag into the groups as well? I just want to see if that will do that. I'm not sure that it will, but I just want to see if it will. So I'm just going to call Ansible. We'll say Ansible I Ansible forgetting my Ansibles. Ansibles. All right, cool. All right, so it did. All right, so I just reversed when I did it the first time. I apologize for that. Again, just resting up on my Ansibles. So what I did here, I'll highlight this for you guys so you guys can see. Is this is the obviously the back command. So I called in Ansible. All right, so we called in Ansible, and I called in so R1, which is our router up there. Then I said pretty much I want to look for the I want it to include the host file, so my host file. All right, then I'm calling in the module. I'm calling in the ping module, and then we just get some cool quick facts. We get the ping in the palm. Pretty much, it just gives us a success. I'll erase that real quick. And so, again, if we want to elaborate on this command, just to make sure we have, solid communications everywhere, well, we can do this. So we'll say Ansible. We'll say router. We'll say routers, okay? We'll say -i. We'll say our host file. We'll say -m for the ping, for the module, and then the ping module itself. Okay. Now, awesome. This is awesome sauce, guys. So this is beautiful. So what we got back is, so we successfully used the ping module. Okay, this isn't like ping. It's like the ping module. I believe it's pinging back, like it logs into the actual device and then like pings itself back. I believe that's how that module works. I don't know. I'll have to read more on the ping module. I could be completely wrong on that. But either way, it's just a quick and easy module just to make sure that at least that I like to use to make sure that my initial setup with the host file and SSH is up and running successfully. All right. So what you're seeing here is a successful Ansible ad hoc command. So again, even though the setup took me a couple of minutes, we're already cooking with Ansible, guys. All right. So now what we get into, now that we know we have our initial setup working with success. Okay, we're getting success messages, we're not getting fails. All right. From here, now we're gonna start creating our playbooks. Okay. Now this is where the fun comes in, guys. This is what I really like. This is what is a pain in the butt about Ansible, and this is what is really fun about Ansible at the same time. Pain in the butt is dealing with YAML and the spaces, YAML spaces. But nonetheless, you can do some really cool stuff, which we're going to get into here. We're going to talk about what we're going to be doing and stuff like that. Okay. So let's create let's do this. We'll say touch. We're gonna say play one .yaml. Now you can give, so YAML is the prefix to the file on what the format of the file. So this is going to be a .yaml. You can also give it the prefix of the YML. Now, if you're interested in seeing let me just pull this back. Now, if you're interested in checking out the documentation on YAML, share that with you guys. So, what's going on, Antonia? Good greetings. I wish you a well. Thank you, dude. Appreciate that. All right. So, that's the link over to the YAML website right there. Hey, you can find some of its documentation. It's a goofy website too, guys. Check it out. All right. All right. Huh. All right. All right. Now to kind of start a YAML file, starts pretty much with these three dashes. Now the three dashes signifies what what it could be placed now, because you can place a YAML file inside of like a HTML file and stuff like that. It kind of just tells where this YAML file is, where it begins and stuff like that. That's kind of good, But again, the formatting to it is kind of strict on what it likes, what it doesn't like. So I'm gonna just start off this one by just so we're just gonna name this. I'm gonna name this. This initial one. We're just gonna say. So it's gonna be saying gathering facts. We're gonna put this on all our routers. So I'm gonna say getting facts from routers. Very simple, guys. All right, now remember the two spaces, guys. It's going to get us, okay? Now, for the host, now, again, what I encourage you is to take a look at the documentation, okay? So we're going to be calling this, now, when we call this playbook, we're going to be making sure that we call our host file when we call this playbook too, as well, too. But so to make sure there's that connection between our host file and the host that we want to call, the hosts are going to be whatever we want. So we can call R1, R2, we can call them individually by the one, by their IP addresses, or we can call it, again, by their groups. We're going to call it by their group. Okay, so it's just host. Okay, host with an S. Okay, am I getting that? I just want to make sure I'm host with an S. Host with an S. Okay. This is just going to be routers, guys. So I believe that's what I need. Two spaces. Now, we don't have to do, because of the variables. Remember, because we've already added variables inside of our host configuration file. Now, you also have the option to add variables inside of your place as well. So, you can add connection variables. You can add password variables. You can add variables to say, to receive, to get password information from the vault and stuff like that. Now, you can do all of that within playbooks as well. I just chose, I just chose to do it within the host file because how I guess I look at the play, I look at the now. Again, you can make this super modular with anything. That's how I kind of want to do it. It's just thinking about things modularized, right? I don't want this playbook to be just for these things. And again, this is what it's going to be for these routers. But I want to start thinking in that method of how to make plays that I can use on multiple devices, not just say one particular type of. That's kind of the thinking aspect of when you start automating things with like Ansible and stuff like that. Okay. Let's get into a simple play now. We're right off the rip. We're gonna call a module. We're gonna be using and I'm gonna share the documentation too. We're gonna be calling in a module from the Cisco IOS module index. We're going to be using the iOS command module, and that's going to be retrieving the information for us that we're going to be printing to the console and stuff like that. The console on the command line on our device, on our manager device. Now, what we can do from there is we can turn that into documentation too, guys. You know what I'm saying? We can save that to a file and document things as we go too. All right. Yeah. Let me share. So I'm sharing the. This is where you can find the module, the Cisco module information that I'm going to be using. Right. So again, remember finicky spaces always, keep that in the back of your head. So remember we've got 2 spaces. All right. Space. Let's say our first task. Okay, we're going to say. Getting we're getting routing information. There we go. Spaces, S and spaces, 2 spaces. So we're just going to do now this command. Now this module. Now again, this is why there's a couple. I don't want to say a couple hundred. There could be a couple hundred modules out there that exist in Ansible, and more are being created all the time. What modules allow us to do is to kind of like tap into these. To these commands that are unique to these devices, so we can run we can make it can kind of like make if we know the commands on the devices, we can make our code readable to that device or readable to interpret what we're looking to do on that device. And that's again one of the strengths behind Ansible, why it's so cool. These modules have a lot of power in them. What you can do, what enables you to pretty much do with these modules. So again, if you take a look at that documentation that I provided for you with the Cisco module and the iOS command, pretty much from there, what you will see is you got a whole host of you can pretty much run any Cisco IOSB command from that command. That's pretty much what we're doing. And there's other things too. Just take a look at the documentation, guys. Just take a look. Obviously, there's so much in there. It's like I guess I wouldn't do it justice to label it all out. There's examples too, which is super neat. Super. So this is, we're just gonna do a show. Do a show IP route. That's it. Super easy, right? And what we need to do though, we need to register this. And that's another thing I got to show you guys how to do next. Now, the next thing is we need a way to register our variable. So, because we need a way for, obviously it's going to run this command on the route. Well, you need a way to when it runs that command to pretty much capture that output that it's doing on that router, that the console on that router is giving out. You need that to get that output. We need to capture that as a variable. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to call it as we're going to register that variable. Okay, now we can register that variable under any name. Okay. All right. Now we're going to register this results. All right. We can give it anything. We'll say data. How's that? Routing data. How's that? All right. How's that? Route data. Okay. Now that we have that as a variable, we need to now print that variable to the command line. So as the manager, we can see the results of that command, because that's what we're doing. We want to see. That's what makes it true to us, is when we see things, when we see results. It's not true unless we see results. We can run commands and things happen in the background, but it doesn't really feel true to us unless we see results, and that's what we want to see. So to do that, we need to create like a new task, okay? And that's what we're gonna do here. So I'm gonna give us a name. Okay. Again, just gotta make sure my spaces are good. I'm gonna get in trouble. Printing, routing. Let's see, debug. Now the debug, I'm gonna share that with you guys next. Now the debug module, you'll find it under Ansible built-in debug. Now under that module, you can print variables. Okay, you can print variables to the command line. There's other things you can do to it. There's a whole array. Again, with the registering, you can get into to building in booleans and all kinds of cool and happy programmability. Programming stuff. Yeah. So there's some more of that awesome Ansible documentation. That right there will get you the on the debug module. to get you examples on how to utilize that module right there. So we're just gonna give it pretty much the debug module, all right? Give it the now I will. I'm gonna share this with the rest too. There's so much documentation. I just don't know. Register. All right. So if you see under the register, under where I shared the register under the conditions based on register variables, you will see you can access the string contents by using the pretty much the variable and then the we'll pull it up right there. So you can access your string contents by using the variable. Pretty much, it's like the standard output. All right. And what we're going to be using is we're going to be using the standard output, and we're going to be pretty much we're going to display ours as pretty much like a JSON in a JSON type format, where we're going to be able to utilize, we're going to be able to access each pretty much we're going to be able to iterate over our array of items. So we're going to have an array of items, and those are going to be our configuration. You know, our each device is going to be a item in that array. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be able to access each. That's what the thing is. We're going to be able to access each item inside of that array. So all of our devices will be an item inside of our array, and then we're going to be able to iterate over that to then pull different information out when we need it. And you're going to see that. You're going to see that soon, guys. Okay. So again, so what we're going to do, we're going to give ourselves. I'm going to say, what do we call our variable? Route data. I'm going to say route data. Lines. So this right here, this should actually complete our file. So again, if we take a look at our file before we run it, so the first part, we're pretty much just saying where the host that this play is going to be playing is going to be looking for. So it's going to be looking for the routers, okay? Routers. Now, I just want to double check to just make sure that that's what I named these hosts. Yeah, it's okay. Just wanted to make sure. That's real quick. So I did it. Let's just open that again. I guess I can. All right, let's just run it. So to run it, we're going to say Ansible. I'm just going to see if it works. I'm going to say Ansible playbook. Okay. So this is the command that's saying we're going to be running a playbook on this. Okay. All right. Now the playbook that we're going to be playing is play one. All right. We want to include, so we're going to give it the -i or the -i, whatever you want to call it. We're going to say we want it to include our host. All right, on our host file, on our host file. Okay. All right. We'll see what happens. Oh, see, I always get in trouble. I knew I was going to get in trouble. That's why I don't like YAML. I don't know where it's messed up. Ha! Oh, Ansible, you dirty dog. Oh, man, it hates me right now. How's that? Oh, YAML. Speechless. Let's go. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. That's a good. Hmm. I hate YAML. I swear I did the same. Shit. All right. I don't know how I'm screwing this up. You get so defeated by something so fast, and you have no explanation for it. It's me right now, guys. I have no idea why that's wrong. How is this syntax? That's why I hate Ansible. That's why I hate YAML. How's that? I like Ansible. I hate YAML. About to lose my freaking Kool-Aid here. Fucking cocksucker. I don't know why YAML's so difficult. Let's do one thing at a time, guys. I guess Ansible doesn't want us to rush tonight. It doesn't want us to get into things. One step at a time. That's what Ansible wants us to do. One step at a time. Okay. Look at that, huh? Now we're making things happen. We finally got a playbook to work. Oh, this is gonna. I'm gonna be fighting this all night, guys. How do I hold my composure without? Right. Oh, Yamo, you make my life so difficult. Oh, Yamo, why you so difficult, Yamo? Spell tonight. Yeah, I don't understand what's going on. It's just not. It's not taking anything right now. Getting disappointed. It's, shouldn't be this. Shouldn't be this hard. You don't understand. Like it's not. It's spaces. Fuck your spaces. Fucking make them rewrite all this. So dumb. It's just so dumb. The syntax is just so fucking dumb. So, it's just so trash. So fucking just smelly fucking shit trash. There's just shit trash everywhere. Everybody just shit on the fucking ground. Fuck this trash. I did the one fucking two spaces there, motherfucker. You fuck. You fucking piece of fucking dog smelling shit. Motherfucker. Sorry, guys. Oh, Joey's losing his fucking Kool-Aid. I'm done streaming, guys. This no. I need to fucking